When we're hurting, it's easy to turn away, to want to shut our eyes and stop our ears and pretend like nothing's wrong, or just actively refuse to engage with our problems. But that way lies ruin. I'm no expert on depression. I don't think I've ever really suffered with it, but I have seen a lot of unhappy people, and I think I've avoided a lot of unhappiness myself by seeing how others have suffered and thinking about what led them to that path and trying to take a different one. Now, that doesn't mean my life is free of any hardship. I don't think any life is, really, but I think thanks to a lot of the stories I've consumed have kind of embraced the fact that, life is pain, and anyone who tells you differently is selling something. And because of that, I've tried to figure out a way to cope with the pain. And I think finding love, or having love, and positivity, and growth, or a goal that you're working towards, a positive goal that you're working towards, is a large part of what helps you to be grounded and to hang on to a little bit of joy and dispel that darkness. And I think that's proved out in these last two episodes of Mobile Fighter G Gundam. I'm MJ, and this is King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows, my platform for discussing one of my favorite anime of all time, Mobile Fighter G Gundam. This time I'm going to be talking about episodes 48 and 49, the final two episodes, and they're a doozy. I was tempted to talk about them separately, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't bring myself to not watch 49 immediately after watching 48, and I decided that I would just roll with it, and since it presents itself as one large narrative, I'll present this all as one big analysis of the two episodes after the fact. Not that it'll necessarily be long, but just there's things to say now. So this is going to be another image-heavy episode of King of Hearts, Queen of Sorrows. So if you're listening to the audio-only version, you'll probably want to go check it out on the blog, mjmunoz.com. Up in the search bar, you can just type in KHQS or G Gundam. You'll find it either way. And if you're over on YouTube watching the video, well, then you can just, look at the pretty images as I'm talking and trust that as the images change, what I talk about will be shifting as well. So the first thing I want to discuss is that, well, first of all, I should back up real quick and just say I absolutely love these episodes. There's basically nothing I dislike about them. To oversimplify the synopsis, in G Gundam 48 and 49, it's just one big, long action scene or set of action set pieces, which I don't know where the heck that term came from or what it really means, but I don't like it. Anyway, this is not the time to discuss that. But what happens here is that the siege on the Dark Gundam in Alube continues, and Domon draws closer to Rain in order to free her from the Dark Gundam and ultimately stop the Dark Gundam. Then there's a little bit of a denouement afterwards, and we get a hopeful message about the future. And I say all that to just clarify that I'm not really going to have anything to judge. Well, anyway, the screen grabs I have, I grabbed because they were, prominent images, and I'm going to be using them as prompts to discuss various things from these two episodes. But, the review is I love it. So, there you go. You can go home now, turn off your phone, go take a walk, do some sit-ups, do some push-ups, go tell somebody you love them. But, anyway, now that that's over, you can be here for the rest of it. And, that's pretty much all I have to say. So Alube's motivations seem a bit muddled, and actually something about the way he encountered the Dark Gundam on that day when he got his scar and stuff makes me think about the way Master Asia encountered the Dark Gundam, and something about it broke him fundamentally. And I think that's interesting. I don't think it quite matches. They call the Dark Gundam the Devil Gundam in the original version. It originally started as the Ultimate Gundam, which I know I can't keep repeating, and sorry for that, but it's how I've been doing things. Anyway, the Ultimate Gundam was supposed to be this great thing that was supposed to promote life and help regenerate the Earth and whatever. I'm sure DG cells were not originally intended to make creatures or organisms turn evil, like invincible and evil, and murderous. But that's kind of what they do. But it's interesting because while Master is never affected by the DG cells or never contracts them, so to speak, Alube seems to embrace them at some point. I don't know when. He's not in contact with the Dark Gundam until Neo Japan wins and takes the Dark Gundam up to the colony. So I would assume he only had a short amount of time to be in contact with them and be warped by them. But both he and Master say that seeing the Dark Gundam up close and experiencing its power pushes them towards bad stuff, or where they are now. And Master wanted to wipe out human life on Earth because of everything that humans had done to the Earth, had done to nature to harm the natural resources and whatnot, and we've been over that. But Alube he wants to dominate Earth because, I don't know, power is strong. And that's right, it was a little bit of Master beating him in the last Gundam fight that he was like, strength is the only thing that matters, and therefore the Gundam fight is just a game. And I've been criticizing the Gundam fight all along, and I don't know, I kind of agree with him, but at the same time, I mean, I agree that there are valid criticisms, but becoming a dictator, an authoritarian fascist, or I don't even know if you'd call him fascist, he's just like an oppressive, abusive dictator. Like, that doesn't solve the problem, bub. Not really. I mean, it solves that problem, but it creates a much bigger one. So I don't know. I don't get it. The ambition and the greed and all that on display is good and effective, but just I don't know that his motivations actually make that much sense. But it still plays off well. So y'all have heard me talk about having a potential sequel series starring Saisaishi, 4 years later or whatever. I would also like a spin-off episode, series, manga, whatever, about the Neo-Russia space pirate dude who's into graphic design and who very quickly designed this map showing where exactly, the generator or whatever was, inside the Dark Gundam, Neo-Tokyo colony monstrosity. That's just kind of a ridiculous thing, and it's one of the things I love about G Gundam, all their screens and monitors and things like that. Some of them are nonsense, but then you have them in cases like this, like, where the heck did that come from? Who had time to make that? And it's just funny. I mean, it's a great thing for the audience to see, but it's stupid in universe to think about, well, how did that get made? Seeing the image of the Dark Gundam, like, sprouting these wings and spreading them as it reaches towards Earth and wants to absorb it or whatever, which I don't get how that helps Alube's plan at all, but whatever. Really cool, very intimidating image. We've seen it in the OP, and we get to see it happen here live. And I always wonder, do they plan that stuff out months in advance, or do they animate it for the OP and they're like, hey, we'll just cut this back into this, or what? But anyway, cool image. Dr. Mikamura is dead. Dr. Kashu, though, is back. He's alive and kicking. He's helping his son. He's helping everybody survive the Dark Gundam, and it's badness. We don't really get to see a lot from him, know a lot of his character. It's interesting. At one point, he basically tells Domon that he has to go in and destroy. I think he says, like, son, you got to go kill Rain, basically. I'm sorry, but she's, combined, trapped in with the Dark Gundam. And I think that's interesting, because he had the brilliance to create the Ultimate Gundam. But, like, I don't know. The man sent his 10-year-old son away for 10 years to go, learn to be a fighter with some stranger. Like, I know some cultures do that sort of thing regularly, and it gives me pause because, like, I don't see myself doing that sort of thing with any of my kids. And then the fact that he, if I'm remembering correctly, if I'm not, please, tell me that I'm wrong. But I'm pretty sure he basically tells him, like, hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. And then, Domon finds this other way by breaking through Rain's shell, so to speak, and by, telling her that he loves her and all that stuff. Much at the insistence of Allenby, which, thank goodness for Allenby, or otherwise everybody would be in big, big trouble. She's been a boon to the people in this world. But, yeah, I don't know. We don't really get that much good sense from him. Although, I do think it's funny that, at the end, Prime Minister, I can't remember the dude's name, Karato, I believe, he, is talking with Dr. Kashu about, what's going to happen now. And Dr. Kashu says, like, I think the Gundam fight's going to continue. But now that we know what's wrong with it, we can fix it. And that's a really good thing. There's a lot of wisdom there. But in this world, I'm going to date this. In the age, in 2019, in the age of Trump and fake news and everything, you have so many people who just react partisanly to things as opposed to actually thinking about them. And there's this great saying that's attributed to somebody, but he didn't really say it. And someone was like, hey, you changed your mind about this. And he said, when the facts change, I change how I think about the world. What do you do? And I think that's a great biting commentary, clap back, whatever you want to call it, against somebody who basically asks you to not think critically about the world. Because, Dr. Kashu could just say, well, like, we need to end the Gundam fight because Gundam fight bad. But he says, like, no, now that we know what's wrong with it, we can fix it, we can change it, which is exactly how people should live their lives. There should be introspection. We should think about what works well, what doesn't work well, and we should change things accordingly. I haven't been shy about the fact that I'm a bit of a peacenik here, but I have to so the idea of the Gundam fight where you have these small, non-lethal series of combat that lead to handing off of power, and it's equal opportunity, but it's not equal outcome, is really endearing to me. It's really exciting to me, and then I get to see awesome mecha action is really cool. And like, it's funny that, or it's interesting. So again, going to being a peacenik, being kind of like a pacifist, like, I'm not opposed to the production of, the creation of, the maintenance, possession, ownership, and utilization of weapons of war, weapons of killing. And this harks back to something from not Evangelion, Rurouni Kenshin. In the very first episode, Kenshin is talking about how a sword is a weapon created to kill. It's a tool created to kill people. It's made to end people's lives. And the art of swordsmanship is learning how to most effectively kill your opponent. And that is the truth of this world. But that Miss Misao and what is her school called? I can't remember her school, but like her dad's way of this sword that heals is a fiction and a lie that he would like to believe in. And I kind of feel the same way about the Gundam fight and all these powerful, very destructive, very destructively capable, weapons of war or proxy war that have been created in this world of G Gundam. And I don't know, I think there's a nobility, there's a weird nobility to it all, because like I've talked about sportsmanship and limited nationalism, where you're proud of the things from your nation, you're proud of where you come from and what people who lived where you are have accomplished in the past. And I'm I have like a soft well, I don't know. I wouldn't say that I have a soft nationalism, but like I'm proud of being an American to some extent. As much as I hate the empire and what it does, there are some awesome things about being in America. I'm in California. I think California sucks in a lot of ways, but I'm still like it's cool to me. Like think about Hollywood, think about all the technology we have. Because of the weather and whatever, all these people flock to California, and you have these incredible minds, these incredible individuals who choose to come here for different reasons, and they set their minds to things, and the stuff that they're able to accomplish is fantastic. It's amazing. And I'm not just talking about like movies and stuff, and drones, and because there's a bunch of the defense industry located here, and again, I've got my qualms with that, but like there are really so many people here. In California, in the United States, that do so many amazing things, and like that's really cool. I can be proud of those things, but just because you live in a place, come from somewhere, have familiarity and connection with people, like I don't own the victories of those other people. I don't own victories of, or the great things that like Hispanic people have done, or whatever Mexican and Puerto Rican people have done, because well, they did those things. I didn't do them. This individual here, MJ, didn't accomplish any of those things. Hopefully he made a really awesome deep dive exploration of, Mobile Fighter G Gundam that, a bunch of people are able to enjoy, but like, that's me. This is stupid, but like, I don't think my kids are, like, I don't know if this is, I wouldn't count on this being like a lasting legacy. And, if this turns into something huge, I wouldn't imagine that in decades there will be great-great-grandchildren from my family who are proud of themselves because they're descendant from me, and I did some cool things. I think that's kind of silly, but I don't know. It's all that's to say that even though we had this Gundam fight, it's neat that we've gotten to see so many different Gundams from all the different nations. We got to see like the Statue of Liberty cannon, which is crazy, and then like all the different mermaid Gundams that were being developed, all the different windmill Gundams, and just like this whole Gundam army of like these nations were fighting for supremacy in some way, but like the ability. What happened because as a result of them trying to have dominance or hegemony or whatever, through this more peaceful process, they were able to develop these amazing weapons that they were able to use against a real serious threat. And they even make an ad hoc, Gundam Earth Federation or whatever they call it. And it's funny that Kirol, this like murderer, this assassin, is a key component of it. And then on the other side, you have Allenby, who was taken over by the Berserker sister. It's kind of ironic because like he's this old grizzled assassin, and she's this young girl who is an amazing fighter, but it was forced to do these things and was mind controlled and was recently injured and stuff. But like they're banding together because if they don't, there will be serious loss. The earth will be damaged. Other nations will be hurt, and nobody wants that. And the best way for them to overcome the Dark Gundam is by working together. And like. That it calls back to that to that thing in the Ghana Highlands where the Dark Gundam was attacking, and all 5 nations were working together to to fight it and stop it. Actually, I guess you could say 6 because Schwartz was there too, and that's just it's so good, and you get to see that again. Like these guys are breaking what should be the rules about how they conduct themselves with each other because like they're friends and they've blown up those lines. They like the nationality doesn't matter because they're fighters, and that is what links them together more than anything else. Is that these men are fighters, women too, because Allenby's in there. But like, I mean, I'm more specifically talking about the Shuffle Alliance. But like, these people from different countries, different perspectives, different walks of life, even they're coming together and forming this alliance. Of shuffles, now forming this alliance that pools their strength and works for the benefit of all mankind, and that's just really cool. I love the nature of that, and of course, like a kid seeing this in Japan, they're not gonna have a French guy, Russian guy. They might have a Chinese person who they meet and can become friends with, but like it's so broad, it opens you to the idea of like, yeah, I could be an ally and a friend with people from all over the world, from so many different walks of life. You know, a knight and a space pirate, like, that doesn't make sense. They shouldn't be able to work together. You know, like a monk and this womanizing lech, who's a boxer and a drinker and stuff. Like, these guys should not be able to work. Well, I don't know that much about monks, so sorry, I don't mean any disrespect for overgeneralizing, but like, that doesn't seem to work, you know. Or monk in training, I guess she would be technically, right? But it's just like, it's so interesting how the Shuffle Alliance works, how broad it is, and how, you know, you can apply that to yourself, to your life. And like, there's so many good lessons to take away from the show and the setup, the execution, everything. And you know, that's part of what's driven home in these final episodes. So something I neglected to mention is that the last time Domon got into the Gundam, which was like 3 or 4 episodes ago now, or maybe 2 or 3 is more accurate. Anyway, he was smiling. I don't think we've ever seen Domon smile while the mobile trace sequence was, you know, processing. And I'd highlighted before that when he and Rain tag teamed against Malaysia and I don't remember who the other team was, but Skull Gundam and that, like, Ashra. Skull and Ashra Gundam. There we go. Anyway, doesn't matter. That she was very happy, and that the Gundam fight was her opportunity to do something that she enjoyed and that made her happy, versus the Gundam fight, each individual fight that Domon gets into is hopefully bringing him one step closer to freeing his dad, you know, but fighting his brother, which is a bad thing, and like avenging his mom's death, and just all these negative things are associated with Domon being a fighter. And it's been treated by the show as if it's this, you know, big torment for him, which, yeah, I can see that. I accept that. Interesting, though, that he smiles when he fights. Or as, you know, as he's getting into not the plug suit, whatever they call it, the trace suit probably? Anyway, but he's smiling, he's happy, and he's happy because he's fighting for love, he's fighting for Rain, he's fighting to be reunited with this woman who he had spent all this time with, but had never really truly come to grips with his feelings over, and, you know, never intended on, you know, well, anyway, he never took the opportunity to, you know, declare his love to her, and now he has this chance, and he's going to go ahead and do it. Now, excuse me for that. The image that I've been talking over is the image of all of his dead loved ones, comforting him, encouraging him, giving him strength to go ahead and fight the Dark Gundam, and to continue fighting, and to fight until he reaches Rain, saves her, etc., etc. And the reason I wanted to bring them up, the reason I grabbed that image, and the reason I associate it with him smiling when he's going to fight, is because for once Domon is actually fighting for something positive. It's a good goal he's trying to reach. It'll make him happier when he gets Rain, and, you know, ultimately he has to defeat the Dark Gundam too, but like, defeating it becomes almost an afterthought because he's just there for Rain to some extent. And he's I think that scene is Master Asia basically saying, like, don't let our deaths be in vain. And he's, you know, is this the extent of your ability? And it's cool because he said that like 3 or 4 times throughout the show, and it's kind of taken on now in retrospect like a different tenor, in my opinion. And finally here, it's as a loving master who, like, wants his student to excel and to exceed and to accomplish these lofty goals that he has. And it's just really cool because even though his mom doesn't get a speaking part, she gets to, like, nod and cheer him on. I mean, we could have gotten at least a Gambare, right? Anyway. But Schwartz and Kyoji were there, and I really liked the idea, and I didn't remember this, even though I had framed things that way. I didn't remember that the show regards Schwartz and Kyoji as like 2 totally separate people, which makes sense, I think, you know, in the end. But anyway, it's cool because, you know, the 4 of them are all there to encourage him to keep going, and I think it's really neat. It's really beautiful. It's a beautiful sentiment, and I like, as much as the show's kind of macho and about fighting and things like that, that it is about the heart and emotions and feelings, and
I don't know, I guess like finding a way to manage those or handle those in your life. So I'm kind of winding down, wrapping up, whatever. So I have at the tail end here, I organized these images like, I don't know, like 18, 24 hours ago, something like that. And these are all just kind of beautiful images. And they're beautiful because of what they show, how they're technically laid out. I don't know, I just kind of wanted to show them and almost give like a good send off to the show of like, you know, this was a well-made show. It was well crafted. The directing is good. This Dark Gundam in its final fully evolved form, coming after Domon. It's at I think they call this a Dutch angle, and it looks intimidating and menacing. And Domon looks tiny, or the Shining Gundam looks tiny, or is it Burning Gundam or whatever? I don't know. It's a Gundam. It's Domon, basically. Anyway, it's just the scale is great, and it raises the stakes because it's a really scary thing to look at. And I just love that they're able to accomplish so much with everybody working together, the animators, the storyboarders, the direction. It's so exciting that they're able to make these things work. This is a really cool image of Metal Rain. She's like, holding herself, trying to, deal with her feelings and stay away from Domon. And I really like the conceit that all the stuff the Dark Gundam is doing is in response to Rain shying away from Domon because he's hurt her, or because she's afraid, rather, of how much her family has hurt him and his loved ones, and how she doesn't really see that, not that she can take the place of his family, but like if he has her, if they can be together, they can heal from that trauma together. And I just think it's such a beautiful thing. There's another crazy image where Rain's head is huge. She's like gigantic in comparison to Domon in scale, but like, is that how he's feeling? He feels like she's this great thing that he can hardly even approach, like maybe this goddess that he, maybe I'm projecting how I feel, but like he feels like he can't even touch her, he can't attain her. She's just so much greater than he is. I don't know, it's cool because in that moment, Domon's being very vulnerable. But it's nice because the way the imagery works, it's dream-like, surrealistic. He like steps out of the cockpit and there's all this flame around. But, Rain is no longer a giant. She's there on the wall, or whatever, in the Dark Gundam. And he's able to go up to her and touch her face and hold her and talk to her and do all these things. But of course, that's all not actually happening. It's just vivid imagery to indicate the state of their emotions and everything. And then she ends up calling out to him because she wakes up and she realizes that, they can be together, even though everything her father's done, and even though he's suffered through all these things, they can be together and have a love that works. So she leaps from the Dark Gundam and he catches her and he wraps his cape around her because she's naked otherwise. And gosh, we just get this awesome thing where they end up doing the Sekiha love, like the burning finger, Sekiha love Tenkyoken together. And it's cool because it's like they did it the first time together when he needed help and she helped him do the burning finger. And it's just really awesome that like the show ends with that. And I went back to the image to look at it again and again to try to capture this perfect image of them like in a dance move, and they're basically like dancing. And it's so cool because it's beautifully animated. Like, I guess you could say there's Sakuga there because of the way the animation was coordinated and choreographed to make them look like they're dancing. It's all very fluid. It's all very beautiful. And then it all culminates with them shouting about how their hands are burning red, and their loud cry tells them to grasp happiness, which is something I've said at the end of the show because I like it. I like the positivity. I like the ownership that puts on you, on me, on all of us, that like we can have all these bad things happen to us like Domon and Rain and the others, but we can fight through it. And whether we're with friends or we're alone, we can reach out to other people and accomplish things. Like if you're a loner, look at Schwartzbruder. He loved people, he cared about people, he wanted to help people, and he had to do it all by himself because of the secrets of who he was and stuff. But he was still able to work towards that goal, and he reached out and became friends as an outsider with the Shuffle Alliance and was able to make that connection. And ultimately he was successful in his goal of seeing that the Dark Gundam wasn't used for evil. And of course, that's not going to apply one-to-one to your life, but like, you can take that as inspiration. And I just love that. I love that the show has this positivity and this beauty. And, you know, I mentioned the Love Sekiha Tenkyoken. Like, it's ridiculous. They shoot like a sparkle beam at the Dark Gundam, and then there's a hole shaped like a heart, not like a human heart, but just like the iconic heart that we use to represent love in like modern society, I would say. And it's poetic and it's dumb and like it's gaudy a little bit, but I really love it. It's so beautiful, and I don't know, it's so touching to me. And I really like hearts and cards and stuff, and I wonder how much of the Shuffle Alliance and the fact that there's like a King of Hearts, Queen of Hearts in those games, or in the card games, like gets to me, and how much of that is like rooted in the show and watching it as, you know, an impressionable 12, 13-year-old, whatever I was at the time. Man, I don't know, but such good stuff. Such good stuff. I would have been closer to 13 when it was first airing, because I was born in 87, and it debuted on Cartoon Network or whatever in like, what, 2000-ish? Anyway, I just love this show. I have so much good things to say about it. It's really beautiful, and it makes me happy. And, well, not only does it make me happy in the moment, but it inspires me to be happy. And there are things from it that I carry forward with me in my life, and I'm so happy that I took this opportunity, that I grasped this opportunity myself to talk about this show. And I've had, you know, dozens of people checking out my reviews and stuff, and I think that's cool. It'd be amazing if it were hundreds or thousands or whatever, but like, I'm doing this at a loss, so to speak. Like, I'm doing this just because I love it and I'm passionate about it, and it's exciting to me to, you know, if I'm going to enjoy if I'm going to enjoy media, I may as well make something out of it and see if it sticks and see if it connects with anybody. And for those of you who've been along for the ride and who've enjoyed my commentary and my reviews of the show, thank you so much for sticking around. And I've got a couple commenters like Awesome Productions, Diablos. I don't know, you know, what's up, but you know, it's been a while since you've commented, and that's fine. You know, I mean, I get it. Everyone's busy, but you know, it's been fun having your comments too. And gosh, there was one other person whose name I can't quite remember because they haven't commented in a little while. But anyway, those are all people over from YouTube, and yeah, I appreciate the interaction. It's been fun. Getting to talk a little bit extra about the show. You know, I post an episode and then boom, it's up, and you know, it's still there. Or you know, I get a comment, it brings me back to that, and it's, you know, it makes it even more fun and enjoyable. So thanks for your participation. For everybody else, you can basically check out now if you're not interested in what I have to say, because I'm kind of gonna pitch some of the other stuff I do. I've got mjmunoz.com. I'm an aspiring writer. I'm going to slow things down because I've got a new kid. I have 4 children now. Can you believe that? Anyway, I've got a new kid in the home, and I really do need to focus on writing. I have some long-term writing projects that I've been meaning to finish for a long time, and I want to finish them by the end of this year. And I think I'll get to that, but September's coming up. I don't know if they're doing Tokutember, because I'm into Tokusatsu, and that's where you draw different, you know, Tokusatsu-inspired thing every day for the month of September. And I do like art. I like drawing. So, like, I might participate in that. I don't know. But if it's not a thing that's going, there's an Ultraman show coming out on YouTube. It's a YouTube exclusive put out by Super Eye Productions, which is the company that makes Ultraman. And they've got something releasing at the end of September. So I'll be doing that, which that's another show I do called Going Ultra, which, again, you can find that at mjmunoz.com, or you can search around on the Recipher channel, which, by the way, I'm pretty sure I'm going to switch the Recipher channel, update it, and rename it to something else related to Tokusatsu. And that'll be my focus for this channel, which, if you're watching the video, that's where you're getting it from. And if you've got the audio, then that doesn't really matter, does it? You're probably from mjmunoz.com or iTunes or one of the other pod distributors, podcatchers. So I've got that. And then I'm launching a new channel, actually, all about, well, it was going to be about Spider-Man only, but it's actually going to be about lots of different comic books, or Marvel comics, because I really enjoy Marvel comics, and I've decided that I'm going to read, with the Marvel Unlimited app, you can read, they have like more than 25,000 comic books. So I'm just going to start reading. I'm going to go back to the earliest Spider-Man. I'm going to go back and check out stuff around that, but I'm launching the channel with a review, a 6-part review of the Spider-Man Life Story by Chip Zdarsky, which has been really fantastic. I read through all 5 that are out right now. Next week, issue 6 comes out. That'll be the completion of the story as far as I know. And it's been such a great ride so far, and I want to, go to reviewing comics instead. It feels, just because I love Spider-Man, and anime's a little tougher, and, I've got the app for all those comics, and anyway, it doesn't really matter why, but I am going to switch to doing that, and that's on a channel called Swinging Through Comics, and that's available right now. You can go check it out. I'll post a link in the description, both on YouTube and in the post where the show notes are on my blog. So anyway, I'm going to be doing that, and I've got original fiction. I haven't written stuff about like fighters or anything like that, really. I mean, there's some kind of action-oriented superhero type stuff over there, but I kind of want to write more superhero stuff, which is maybe why I'm getting more into comics right now. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So again, converting this channel to a Tokusatsu channel if you're on YouTube. I'm going to be starting a new channel, Swinging Through Comics, all about Marvel comics, mostly because I prefer Marvel to DC. I just do. I don't know why, but it clicks with me. Particularly Spider-Man. It's kind of going to be my main focus, and I'll cover other stuff around him, starting all the way back from then, and maybe I don't know what else, but definitely that. And then I'm going to focus on writing, and you can find all that stuff at mjmunoz.com. This is going to be repeated at the last 20 or so seconds, because I have that boilerplate, end of video stuff, telling you all about where you can find my things. So anyway, I'm doing that. So yeah, I don't know what else to say, except for, remember folks, go out there and grasp happiness. mjmunoz.com is home for all my work, podcasts and reviews of anime, tokusatsu, Star Wars, and more, plus my original writings. If you didn't enjoy this, critique me. If you did, leave me a comment. If you really like this, consider tipping me at coffee.com/mjmunoz. Thank you so much for your time and attention. Until next time, be well.